this hour on VTV News, Prime Minister signs directive on monetary policies and solving difficulties in production and business. Revolutionary rehabilitation gloves aid stroke recovery at home. And in world news, tensions rise as college students across U.S. protest against war in Gaza.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 3 p.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. Prime Minister Phie has recently signed and issued a directive on managing monetary policies with a focus on removing difficulties for productions and business, promoting growth and ensuring macroeconomic stability. The State Bank is tasked with fully and effectively deploying solutions and tasks related to managing monetary policy, credit, exchange rate, interest rate, and the gold market in association with macroeconomic stability and inflation control. This is aimed at promoting economic growth and ensuring the safety of banking operations and the credit institution system. The Prime Minister has assigned the Ministry of Finance to urgently review and complete regulations related to securities and corporate bonds and to develop the stock market into an effective medium and long-term capital mobilization channel. The Ministry of Constructions must urgently submit documents guiding the housing law and real estate business law to competent authorities for promulgation. The Ministry of Industry and Trade is to urgently develop an electricity trading mechanisms between electricity generating units and large electricity users and submit it to the government in May. The Ministry of Public Security is to coordinate with the State Bank of Vietnam to urgently implement solutions to prevent and handle cross-ownership and manipulation of credit institutions, thereby ensuring the safety of the credit institution system and financial and monetary security. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment is to review and propose amendments to the mineral law, especially regulation related to procedures for common construction material mines to ensure compliance with practice. The Prime Minister has also requested that local authorities prioritize resources to remove difficulties in production and business activities and to support people and businesses. The PMI Purchasing Managers Index rose above 50 points again in April, indicating an improvement in Vietnam manufacturing industry. According to the S&P survey, the number of new orders has grown at the fastest rate since August 2022. Additionally, the number of new export orders last month also recorded a slight increase. These positive signals are likely to stimulate production growth, enabling more workers to soon be able to return to work. Vietnam's export turnover exceeded $123 billion in the first 4 months of the year, a 15% increase over the same period last year, according to data from the General Statistics Office. Export to major markets such as the US, EU, and China all experienced double-digit growth. The United States remained Vietnam's largest export market with an estimated turnover of more than $34 billion, a rise of over 19% compared to the same period last year. The country has 21 products with an export turnover of over $1 billion, with the agricultural sector being the particularly notable. In 2023, e-commerce revenue reached $137 billion, marking a $15.7 billion increase from the previous year. Notably, there's been a significant spike in transactions for goods under $40 on e-commerce platforms. Recently, the National Assembly Finance and Budget Committee proposed taxing these low-value goods to boost revenue. The suggestion is supported by experts as the current VAT exemption for imported goods under $40 is creating competitive pressure on domestic products.
For identical products priced below 1 million Vietnam dong or $40, imported goods shipped via express delivery enjoy a VAT exemption. unlike their domestic counterparts. Lum, an e-commerce seller specializing in domestic goods, believes that this discrepancy places undue strain on the domestic retail sector.
In e-commerce, our profit margins typically range from 8% to 10% after accounting for expenses. If there's a noticeable disparity in tax obligations between us and foreign sellers, it's evident that the playing field is unfairly skewed.
Experts suggest that to ensure quality, the imposition of VAT on imported goods valued at less than $40 through e-commerce should be considered for implementation.
When we buy a package of toothpicks and a box of pens at the supermarket, both items are subject to VAT. So why should e-commerce be exempt from such taxation? Equality between traditional commerce and e-commerce can only be achieved when revenue is accompanied by tax payments.
According to data cited by the National Assembly Finance and Budget Committee, the daily turnover of small-value imported goods on platforms like Shopee, Lazada, and TikTok reaches a staggering $45 million, equivalent to approximately $1.3 billion per month. With the recent surge in e-commerce activity, the imposition of VAT on these items needs to be considered to increase revenue and ensure fair competition and equality in the market.
While marine farming has been a long-standing practice, its output has not yet reached optimal value. And to boost this promising industry, advanced technology, superior breeds, enhanced nutrition, and improved processing methods have been deployed. Notably, most fishermen in GAZA province are transitioning to HDPE plastic for industrial offshore marine farming.
In Hòn Nghệ Commune, Gin Lung District, Nguyễn Thị Kim Trang has invested in 4 heavy-duty plastic cages and has covered 70% of the seedling expenses for raising grouper goby. This initiative is part of the support provided under the project led by the National Agricultural Extension Center for Gyeongsang Province.
After using the plastic cage for 11 months, I've noticed significant improvement. Even facing winds at levels 5 and 6 is now considered normal. In comparison, strong winds in a wooden cage would dislodge all the bolts. Previously, we had to relocate 3 times a year to evade strong winds, incurring additional costs.
This is a cobia and grouper farming raft operated by a member of the Thanh Dat Cooperative in An Sơn Commune, Gien Hai District. Recently, Tung has invested in 3 plastic rafts, each containing 4 cages, totaling more than $11,000. According to him, the fish thrive in this environment and offer numerous advantages compared to wooden rafts.
The fish can be raised far from the shore, allowing for higher density and open-air cultivation, which facilitates better growth compared to traditional rafts.
Members from both Thanh Dat and Thiên Phát cooperatives receive training, enabling them to apply scientific principles to catch fish farming.
The adoption of new, safe and efficient materials is an inevitable trend crucial for sustainable development and will gradually replace wooden cages. Farmers who successfully implemented HDPE cage technology will pave the way for the expansion of marine farming into offshore areas.
On Friday, Samsung Vietnam partners with the National Innovation Center to launch training for the Technology Talent Development Program for the 2023-2024 school year in Hoa Lac. Accordingly, there will be 2 training classes on artificial intelligence, 2 on Internet of Things, and 2 on big data for approximately 200 students from several member universities under Hanoi National University and FPT University. The course will last for 3 months. The training content was chosen based on stratified surveys of industry development trends in various regions, as well as the recruitment needs of large companies. These courses are expected to assist Vietnam in reaching its goal of training 50,000 semiconductor engineers by 2030. Following 2 years of research, a group of local university students recently launched a product named the Robotic Glove. This device is designed to aid stroke patients in their recovery. Leveraging AI technology, the gloves enable patients to use them at home while maintaining a connection with healthcare professionals.
Bend and stretch your fingers. The fingertips can reach the palm of the hand. This process helps restore sensation and mobility to the patient. The Gloves of Hope project emerged amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, providing a solution for individuals unable to visit hospitals. Robotic gloves help patients exercise at home.
There are very few products available to support patients exercising at home. Our team developed a glove with the aim of fostering a connection between patients and doctors during their exercise routines.
The gloves facilitate remote communication with a doctor, who can program tailored exercises for each patient. In addition to functional gripping exercises, the team has also incorporated entertaining games to engage patients. Utilizing AI technology, the product processes voice and image data to assist users in swiftly recovering their ability to grip, move fingers, and carry out daily tasks.
The AI image processing technology helps in accurately recognizing the patient palm, thereby helping to prevent pain or injury during exercise sessions.
The robot gloves have undergone testing across various user groups, demonstrating rapid recovery outcomes. This is particularly significant because the first 6 months post-stroke are vital for rehabilitation exercises. Missing this period often results in permanent paralysis for many patients. The Gloves of Hope project has advanced to the final round of the National Student Entrepreneurship Competition, with ongoing efforts to further refine the product.
Given that stroke survivors often experience paralysis, our aim is to develop a product that can restore functionality to both arms and legs, including the feet.
The Gloves of Hope are expected to assist stroke survivors in restoring sensation and mobility in the future.
And before moving on to some of the news, let's take a look at foreign exchange rate for today, May 3rd. Coming up next on VTV News, commemoration of 70th anniversary of Điện Biên Phủ victory. And a woman promotes local culture through cuisine. On Friday morning, a preliminary review of the commemoration and military parade for the 70th anniversary of the Điện Biên Phủ victory took place. The event and preparation were overseen by Nguyễn Trọng Nghĩa, Secretary of the Party Central Committee and head of the Party Central Committee Commission for Communication and Education. The program involved more than 12,000 people. The opening features a performance at 11 helicopters carrying the party flag and the fatherland flag flying over the ceremony platform. This was followed by the national emblem and party flags, fatherland flag, vehicles carrying pictures of President Ho Chi Minh, and a motor car symbolizing 70 years of Điện Biên Phủ victory. The historic victory of Điện Biên Phủ 70 years ago was attributed to many people. Among them is hero of the People Armed Forces, Colonel Hoàng Đăng Vinh, who joined his comrades in capturing General Descartes. At that time, he was only 19. In this soldier's memory, he recounted the lesson learned from President Ho Chi Minh's humanitarian ideology towards prisoners of the war and kept them close to his heart for the rest of his military career.
I was in Company 360, Battalion 130, Regiment 209, Division 312. Our unit was responsible for the attack on Him Lam Base and the final battle where we captured General Descartes.
On the afternoon of May 7, 1954, squad leader Hoàng Đăng Vinh, who was 19 years old at the time, charged into the command bunker at Stronghold A1 and captured the defeated General Descartes and all his senior officers. That was the proudest and most sacred moment in his military career.
When the enemies lowered their weapons and raised their white flags, we didn't shoot. It became a conditioned reaction of the soldiers. When we detained Descartes and were passing through, the French soldiers applauded. That astounded me, as they were so happy not having to fight anymore.
Soldier Hoàng Đăng Vinh participated in all 56 days and nights of Điện Biên Phủ campaign. For his triumphs, he was awarded 3 medals, including the first-class victory medal awarded by President Ho Chi Minh himself. As a revolutionary soldier, he followed Ho Chi Minh's ideology on propaganda work, mass mobilization, and humane behaviors to prisoners of war.
Each soldier was tasked with propaganda work to demoralize the enemy, enlightening them to the right cause. We used loudspeakers to draw their attention and attract their entire unit.
Hero of People's Armed Forces Colonel Hoàng Đăng Vinh passed away in 2019 at the age of 85, but the images and memories of the Điện Biên soldiers like him still live on, contributing to the ever-shining history of Vietnamese army that is war-hardened but adores peace.
All for the front line, all for the victory was the rallying call during the Điện Biên Phủ campaign over 70 years ago. At that time, the movement to join the army among ethnic groups in the Northwest was enthusiastic. Among them, the Thai ethnic youth were some of the most passionate volunteers who went to the battlefield to protect the country.
More than 70 years ago, a young Thai ethnic man named Lo Van Ing had just gotten married and has his first son. However, he still decided to volunteer to go to the battlefield. Although he is now 95 and his hearing and vision have faded, his memories of the Điện Biên Phủ battlefield remain as vivid as if they were from yesterday.
Cannons were concealed in the back of the car. Wherever there was difficulty, we gathered together to pull through. Our determination was higher than a mountain. We were determined to fight and win the battle.
In the entire border district of Nậm Po, there are now only 3 veterans left who serve on the Điện Biên Phủ battlefield. They're all ethnic people.
We often visit Uncle Ho's soldiers who directly participated in the Điện Biên Phủ battlefield. I, myself, a soldier of the Vietnam People's Army, having completed my duty and returned to my locality, always feel very proud of the title Uncle Ho's soldier.
During the Điện Biên Phủ campaign, each cannon weighing several tons of steel had to be dragged up and downhill on winding paths.
No slope was as steep as our determination. We were not afraid to pull the cannon. Even though bombs and bullets were bursting around us, we still kept going.
We can die, but we could never leave the cannon. This slogan demonstrates the high determination of Uncle Ho's soldiers during the fierce fighting in Điện Biên that was vital to the victory in 1954.
An earthquake recently occurred in the Con Plong district, Con Tum province. The magnitude 4 earthquake occurred at 10 a.m. with depth about 8.2 kilometers. This is the second earthquake in the past 3 days in this area with a magnitude of 4 or higher. According to experts, the Con Plong district belongs to a small fault zone where earthquakes usually have a magnitude of no more than 5. Although earthquakes occur frequently in this area, they are not at risk warning level. The Earthquake Information and Tsunami Warning Center, Institute of Geophysics, continues to monitor the earthquake. For the past 7 months, people in Hàm Thuận Nam district, Bình Thuận province have yet to see any rain. And for more than 2 months, fresh water in reservoir and tributary has all dried up. Those locals are currently having to make use of all water sources while longing for the first rains of the season.
Since the beginning of the year, the rainwater shortage tanks of Dung Hau in Hàm Thuận Nam district have stayed empty. There isn't enough water for daily use, let alone for cultivation.
The dragon fruit trees haven't been watered for nearly a month now. The weather is too sunny, too dry.
The water bodies in Ta Mon Lake in Tân Lập Commune, Hàm Thuận Nam district have a total capacity of over 600,000 cubic meters of water. This locality has remained dry since the beginning of March.
It costs me over $10 to buy a barrel of water. And I have 3 barrels to water my garden. 2 months ago, I didn't turn on the night light to trigger the dragon fruit's growth, because there wouldn't be enough water to nurture the fruits.
Gardens of kumquats, plums, and dragon fruits cannot survive without water. There's no chance of breaking even now.
Meanwhile, a large portion of 1,800 hectares of dragon fruit tree in Tân Thuận Commune, Hàm Thuận Nam district have died due to lack of water.
The underground water people have stored only meets 1/3 of the demands, which puts the dragon fruit growers in a very vulnerable state.
The last water supply session for Hàm Thuận Nam area was around May 4th and was sufficient for only 1,600 hectares. The remaining 4,600 hectares are without water. Other major lakes have dried out since the end of March.
With irrigation projects being dried out, Bình Thuận Irrigation Work Exploitation Company is keeping regulating water from surviving lakes to dry areas for farmers to sustain their crops, waiting for first drops of rain to come in early May.
In addition to its unique cultural identities and natural landscapes, the cuisine of the Ede people is a significant highlight that attracts tourists to the Central Highlands. No matter the seasons, tourists from all over will always remember the anticipation and enjoyment of tasting dishes in the sunny, windy Central Highlands.
Ho Minh Bonza's kitchen is bustling these days. Each day, her family prepares about 10 traditional dishes of the Ede people. However, the dishes are cooked to be less spicy, less bitter, and less sour to cater to tourist tastes. Since we work in tourism in the village, most customers come to our stilt house during Tet holidays, so we have to prepare a lot of local dishes. We source all our ingredients from nature in our village. Akothon Community Tourism Village, located in the heart of Buôn Ma Thuột City, Đắk Lắk Province, still retains the traditional stilt houses of the Ede people. This feature is one of the main attractions for visitors from around the country. The local cuisine here leaves an unforgettable impression on tourists.
The flavor is very unique. It impressed me a lot. I will recommend that my friends come here to experience the dishes.
The appeal of the dishes of Ede people is also a feature that attracts tourists to Đắk Lắk Province.
Lamb rice is made from field rice grains, stir-fried cassava leaves, and many other ingredients commonly used by the Ede people. Is one of the most favored dishes of visitors who come here. Tourists will understand the culture of the Ede people better when they enjoy these dishes.
Coming up next in our War News, tension rises as college students across U.S. protest against war in Gaza. And rains and mudslides killed 29 in southern Brazil. Student protests in the United States against Israel war in Gaza are becoming increasingly tense despite the government's reassuring moves. To date, hundreds of students have been arrested by the police to prevent the risk of violence from peaceful protests. More to follow.
Thousands of students from more than 50 colleges in the US have participated in protests, calling for an end to the war in Gaza in the past few weeks.
This encampment, a peaceful student-led demonstration, is part of the larger movement for Palestinian liberation.
Amid the ongoing wave of protests, on May 2nd, the US House of Representatives, with 320 votes in favor and 91 votes against, passed a bill called the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act. The act aims to protect Jewish students in US schools. The bill will be sent to the US Senate for consideration before the president signs it into law.
We will not allow anti-Semitism to thrive on campus, and we will hold these universities accountable for their failure to protect Jewish students on campus.
Speaking at the White House, President Joe Biden reiterated his statement supporting students' freedom of speech but opposed acts of violence.
Here are we a lawless country. We are a civil society, and order must prevail. Throughout our history, we've often faced moments like this because we are a big, diverse, free-thinking, and freedom-loving nation.
The wave of protests represents the largest movement by American students since the anti-racism protests in 2020. Faced with the risk of widespread demonstrations, the police were compelled to intervene. Hundreds of protesters were arrested, and many students faced potential expulsion.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture recently stated that all ground beef samples sent to the National Veterinary Services laboratories for PCR testing were negative for the H5N1 bird flu virus. The USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service collected 30 samples of ground beef from retail outlets in state with dairy cattle herd that had tested positive for H5N1 at the time of sample collections. These results reaffirm that the meat supply is safe. Additionally, the Food and Drug Administration stated that preliminary results of tests on additional dairy products show that pasteurization inactivates the bird flu virus. A total of 131 cities and towns in the Philippines are in a state of calamity due to El Nino impact, which is expected to persist until the end of May. Zambales province has recently experienced temperatures of 53 degrees Celsius. The Philippine Departments of Meteorology, Geography and Astrophysics warned that the heat index could reach extremely dangerous levels of up to 57 degrees Celsius in May. Officials also cautioned about the risk of cramps and exhaustion in areas where the temperature index ranges from 42 to 51 degrees Celsius. The death toll from heavy rains in Brazil's southern Rio Grande do Sul state has risen to 29 as of Thursday night, with an additional 60 people missing, according to the state civil defense agencies. Storm damage has impacted nearly 150 municipalities, forcing over 10,000 people from their homes. Meteorologists predict more rain in the regions and warn that the levels of the main Guaibá River, which has overflowed a bank in some areas, will continue to rise through Friday. The downpour began on Monday, and in some areas, more than 150 millimeters or 6 inches of rain fell in 24 hours on the first day alone. Authorities have urged people to avoid areas along state highways due to the risk of mudslides and have advised those who live near rivers or on hillsides to evacuate. And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's all the news for today. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download a mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.